Have you ever imagined packing a single bag, getting on a train or a plane, and never telling anyone where you went? No goodbye, no explanation, just disappearing. Not because you want to die, but because you're tired. Tired of answering the same questions. Tired of being the person everyone expects you to be. Tired of carrying a version of yourself that doesn't even feel real anymore. If you've ever had that fantasy, you're not strange. In fact, psychology suggests it may reveal something important about what your mind has been trying to tell you. Most people think the desire to disappear means you want to escape your life. But that's only half the story, often. You don't want to escape your life. You want to escape the pressure of constantly performing. But here's what most people never realize. The desire to disappear has almost nothing to do with where you live. In fact, even if you woke up tomorrow in a country where nobody knew your name, there's a good chance the feeling would come back. Let me explain that. Imagine walking into a town where nobody knows your name. Nobody has expectations. Nobody reminds you who you used to be. For a moment, that sounds peaceful. Why? Because your brain isn't imagining a new city. It's imagining relief. Relief from expectations. Relief from mistakes. Relief from constantly managing how other people see you. Psychologist Carl Jung believed we all wear a social mask, a persona, to function in everyday life. The problem isn't wearing the mask. The problem begins when you forget you ever had one. When the mask becomes your identity, it starts feeling less like protection and more like a prison. But here's the hard truth. Most people think they're running away from other people. But in reality, they're running away from a version of themselves they've been pretending to be for years. The problem is that our minds often confuse changing our environment with changing ourselves. That's why disappearing feels so tempting. It seems easier to erase everything than to change one painful part of your life. But the pressure comes from your own habits, your own fears, or your own beliefs. They'll quietly follow you wherever you go. A new city can't free you from a mind that's still carrying the same weight. So what do you do instead? Start much smaller than your imagination wants you to, because the fantasy says, leave everything. Reality says, change one thing. Maybe it's finally admitting that the relationship you're in has been quietly draining you for years, not because they're a bad person, but because you've been giving so much of yourself that there's nothing left for you. Maybe it's facing the terrifying truth that you've outgrown your job, not because it's a bad company, but because the version of you that started that job no longer exists. And deep down, you know you're capable of something more. Maybe it's not about adding more people to your life, but about spending less time with the ones who leave you feeling exhausted every single time you leave the room. Sometimes removing just one constant source of pressure changes everything. Think of it this way. When your house fills with smoke, you don't move to another country. You find the fire. Your desire to disappear may be doing exactly that, pointing toward the part of your life that's been quietly burning for much longer than you realized. Maybe that's why the desire to disappear is so misunderstood. It's often a desire to escape the version of life you've been forcing yourself to live. It's about wanting the pressure to disappear. Maybe what you're searching for isn't another city. Maybe you're searching for the version of yourself that existed before you became everything everyone else expected. And perhaps the way back isn't by disappearing, it's by slowly becoming visible again, not to the world, but to yourself.